You are looking down from the height of a god. Beneath your feet is not mere dust, but a massive letter addressed to the heavens above. Welcome to Nazca, a place where ancient mysteries are reserved only for those who dare to fly across the infinite expanse of the dry, brown plains. At first, they appear as simple lines, but as you descend further, the complexity of this ancient landscape begins to reveal its hidden, artistic soul. A giant hummingbird emerges from the dust, a masterpiece of scale and precision that has defied the elements for over 2,000 years of history. The sun casts long shadows, making these drawings look like they were carved by a celestial hand, etched permanently into the very skin of our planet. Look closely at the horizon where the desert meets the sky, and you will see a network of lines so vast they seem to serve gods. The wind whispers secrets of the past, carrying the echoes of a civilization that looked to the stars for guidance and found a way to reply. Every spiral and zigzag was calculated with impossible accuracy, turning the barren earth into a grand gallery that only the birds and gods could appreciate. These lines do not falter, stretching across hills and valleys with a straightness that challenges our modern understanding of ancient engineering and surveying capabilities. Only from the cockpit of a plane can we truly grasp the scale of this vision, bridging the gap between ancient dreams and our modern flight. As we hover in this silent space, we realize that Nazca is not just a place, but a profound testament to the human spirit's eternal ambition. Strangely, the people who created these lines, the Nazca tribe, could never have seen the fruits of their labor from the heights we now occupy. From the ground, these are nothing more than shallow ruts and piles of stones, offering no hint of the magnificent creatures they form from above. But as we rise, a transformation occurs. The chaos of the ground resolves into the elegant coiled tail of a massive monkey, hidden in plain sight. Who were they drawing for? Why would a culture invest such immense effort into art that they themselves could never fully witness with their own eyes? The sheer scale is baffling, with hundreds of lines intersecting like a modern aviation hub, yet built thousands of years before the invention of the wheel. In this waterless wasteland, every movement was a struggle, yet they persisted, creating a legacy that would outlast their civilization by 2 full millennia. Perhaps they saw something in the clouds that we have forgotten, or maybe their faith was enough to fuel the construction of these impossible desert shapes. The rhythm of their work was steady and deliberate, a ceremonial dance of earth moving that turned the entire desert into a sacred temple under the sun. Were these paths meant for ritual processions, where the people walked the shapes of their gods to ensure rain or a bountiful harvest in the desert? The secret lies in the simple act of subtraction. By removing the dark surface stones, they revealed the pale earth below, creating a permanent visual contrast. Some shapes are massive geometric platforms, cleared with such precision that they look like they were leveled by modern machinery rather than primitive hand tools. Time has stood still here. While empires rose and fell across the globe, these lines remained, waiting for the era of flight to reveal their secrets. From whales to flowers, the Nazca people mapped their entire world onto the sand, creating a biological encyclopedia on a scale that defies human logic. The hummingbird is perhaps the most famous, a 93-meter-long masterpiece whose beak points with arrow-like precision toward a point of great significance. There was no room for error. A single misplaced rock would remain as a permanent scar on the desert floor, yet every line is remarkably perfect. Then there is the spider, an image so accurate it depicts a rare species found only in the Amazon, hundreds of miles away from this desert. How did they know its form? Every joint and curve is rendered with a biological understanding that suggests a deep connection to the distant jungle world. Perched on a hillside is the most mysterious figure of all, the astronaut. A strange, humanoid shape that seems to wave a hand at the stars. Unlike the other drawings, this figure looks directly at us, its wide eyes staring into the void, beckoning us to solve its ancient, silent riddle. The giant condor spreads its wings across the sand, a symbol of power and connection between the Earth and the high peaks of the Andes Mountains. These straight lines are even more baffling. They ignore the terrain, climbing vertical cliffs and crossing deep ravines without losing their perfect mathematical heading. Nature provided the ink, and the Nazca provided the vision. The dark surface acts as a canvas, hiding the bright white history lying just beneath. Even near modern roads, these figures stand as giants. A massive tree and a pair of hands reach out, bridging the gap between history and modernity. In the blazing heat of midday, the lines seem to shimmer with energy, as if the desert itself is trying to communicate through these ancient symbols. This was not a flat canvas, as the Nazca used the three-dimensional landscape to create an immersive experience that changes with every angle of the sun. Each figure is a fragile masterpiece. A single lizard, hundreds of feet long, tells a story of survival in one of the harshest climates on Earth. They brought the spirit of the air to the ground, honoring the creatures that possess the one thing the Nazca people lacked: the ability to fly. Even the fiercest storms cannot erase them. The unique climate of Nazca has acted as a natural protector, keeping these messages clear for over 20 centuries. The technology was simple: ropes, stakes, and the human eye. But the execution required a level of patience and coordination that we can barely imagine. It was a labor of devotion. By garring away the scorched surface, they were uncovering the pure, untouched earth that had been hidden for millions of years. The contrast was key. They lined the edges with the darker stones they had removed, and creating a sharp boundary that would catch the eye from miles above. Entire generations must have participated, a collective effort that bound the community together in a shared vision of greatness and spiritual purpose in the sand. As evening falls, the lines transform. They catch the last rays of light, glowing like molten gold before fading into the mysterious shadows of the night. Rain is almost non-existent here. This extreme dryness is the secret to their preservation, preventing erosion from washing away the delicate marks left by human hands. They built for eternity. In a world where everything decays, the Nazca found a way to make their marks as permanent as the mountains themselves. We find the same designs on their pottery. They practiced on a small scale before carving their dreams into the very bedrock of their desert homeland. The wind cleans the lines but does not destroy them. It is a perfect environmental balance that has acted as a silent guardian for 2,000 years. They walked where we would fear to tread, pushing their lines to the very edge of the world, driven by a need to be seen from above. Their mastery of the desert was total. They were not just artists, but engineers who could find water in a land where none seemed to exist at all. Every stone was a choice. Every grain of sand moved was a prayer. This was not just work, it was a conversation with the divine powers of nature. But even though we understand how they were made, the greater question remains untouched by time. Why? For whom? And for what ultimate purpose did they labor? Is it a calendar? Maria Rilke, the woman who devoted her life to Nazca, believed the lines were a giant astronomical book reflecting the stars above. They were tracking the seasons, and using the earth as a mirror for the heavens to predict the arrival of water and the time for planting their crops. Others suggest a more practical use. The lines may be a giant map of underground water sources, essential for survival in this parched and unforgiving landscape. In the desert, water is God. Every drawing could be a ritual site, a place to gather and pray for the lifeblood that flows beneath the burning sand. Then there are the more controversial theories. Erich von Däniken famously suggested these were landing strips for ancient visitors from the stars drawn to our world. The straight, flat plains do resemble modern runways, leading many to wonder if the Nazca were inviting something or someone to descend from the deep cosmic void. The desert remains silent, absorbing every theory and reflecting only the mystery. It challenges our modern logic to admit that we may never truly know the truth. They were a people of high intelligence and deep faith. Whether scientific or spiritual, their motives were powerful enough to move mountains and reshape the earth itself. Under the moonlight, the lines seem to breathe. They become a silver web of history, connecting us to a past that was far more sophisticated than we imagine. Dedicated scholars have spent decades measuring every inch, yet the more we learn, the more we realize how much of the Nazca soul remains hidden from us. Every detail matters. The variations in anatomy and the strange proportions are not mistakes, but deliberate choices in a symbolic language we are only starting to decode. Nazca is a bridge across time. It draws people from all over the world, each seeking their own answer to the enigma written in the Peruvian sand. Imagine the sight. Thousands of people moving in unison, their torches illuminating the giant figures for the gods to see in the darkness of the desert night. They are a shout into the void, and a declaration that we were here. They are the ultimate expression of the human desire to leave a mark on eternity. The horizon holds the answer, but it remains just out of reach, a shimmering mirage of history that keeps us coming back for more questions. Our journey must also come to an end, rising back into the clouds from which we came, leaving the desert to its 2,000-year-old silence. As the sun sets, the lines don't disappear. They simply wait. They wait for the next generation to look down and wonder at their impossible existence. They are the ghosts of a civilization's ambition, etched into the only place that could keep them safe, a land where time itself seems to have stopped. Nazca is more than just lines on sand. It is a testament to the heights of human imagination and our refusal to be bound by the earth beneath. It is a reminder that we have always looked up. From the first line drawn in the sand to the latest satellite in orbit, and our gaze is heavenward. Even from the edge of space, the spirit of Nazca remains. A small point of mystery on a world full of wonders, waiting for its full story. The messages are there for those who choose to see. They are a gift from the past, an invitation to never stop dreaming of what lies above. No matter who you are, standing before Nazca makes you realize that some messages can only be truly understood when viewed from the highest of heavens.